Yes, Sushant sir. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, very good morning. Good morning, Dr. Gitanjali ma'am.
Yes, ma'am also joined, I think.
Good morning.
Yeah. Yes, good morning, ma'am.
Yes, 33 joined till time.
Yeah.
So we should start and sequentially a participant will join, I think.
Yes, definitely. I think so.
Okay. So first of all, welcome all the participants to this last day of STTP on data analytics with Python in phase 2. So today's resource person is now with us. So ma'am is very passionate about their sessions from last phase 1 to phase 2, continuing the session on classification and hands-on on classification algorithms. So today I welcome Dr. Gitanjali Shinde ma'am, resource person for this session. Now I brief about ma'am. Dr. Gitanjali Shinde ma'am has overall 12 years of experience, presently working as a SPPU approved assistant professor in the Department of Computer Engineering, Srimati Kashibai Navle, College of Engineering, Pune, till date. She has done a PhD in wireless communication from CMI Aalborg University, Copenhagen, Denmark, on research problem statement like cluster framework for Internet of People, Things and Services. This PhD is awarded on May 2018. She has obtained ME Computer Engineering degree from the University of Pune in 2012 and BE in Computer Engineering from the University of Pune in 2006. Ma'am has received research funding for the project on lightweight group authentication for IoT by SPPU Pune. Also, ma'am has presented a research article in World Wireless Research Forum, that is WWRF meeting, Beijing, China. Ma'am has published 50 plus papers in national and international conference and journals. She is author of 10 plus books and also editor of the book on the Internet of Everything, that is Advances, Challenges and Application, by De Gruyter Press, and Security Issue and Privacy, Threats in Smart Ubiquitous Computing Springers publications. So such a eminent personality with now us. So I request our Professor HOD sir to welcome ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I'm audible, sir. I'm audible, Chan, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Good morning to all participants, and very warm welcome to today's resource person, Dr. Gitanjali Shinde, ma'am. As Sushant sir has explained all the things previously what we have done from the last 4 days and last phase 1. So we are in the journey of this particular phase 1 and phase 2, and today it's last day at this phase 2 session. So as the contribution from Dr. Gitanjali Shinde, ma'am, as per a work span, what she have achieved, and as we are going from the profiles of her, they have achieved so many things, and which encourages us that the resource person who achieved these things in this particular domain, we should also try to strive for that one. So it encourages us to go through all such type of the activities. The domain can be explored much more. So with this, we like to start for today's first session of last day of our phase 2, and we definitely will get something good information, good content, quality content from Dr. Gitanjali ma'am. So thank you, sir, and welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now I request ma'am to take over the session.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So, very first, I would like to thank Sandeep Institutes, then HOD Yogesh Risorkar sir, and the Professor Sushant Pawar sir for inviting me. And I would like to thank Dr. Parikshit Mahalle sir for giving me opportunity to be a part of the such STTPs. So, thank you very much. The very first, I would like to share the screen. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Okay. So before diving into the our today's topic of discussion, that is classification algorithms, of ML and its use cases. First, we will discuss about what is the machine learning. Can anyone just from the audience can give example of machine learning or AI? Can anyone? You can unmute yourself and you can tell me the example for machine learning or AI. Robots, yeah. So it's correctly said, robots are nothing but the example of our artificial intelligence. So as we have seen, that is Alexa, then Max Siri. These are again the examples of our AI and machine learning. Now, the point is that what is the machine learning? So if you are going to see different definitions of machine learning, like not many definitions are there on the web, like you can see there. These are the three authors, that is they are having very good book for machine learning. They have again explained the machine learning. If you are going to see closely all these definitions, you will see that there are two important words, that is the past experience and data. So what machine learning algorithms or what machine learning is actually going to do, it will learn from the past experience and the data. From that, it will able to predict some future, or it will it can take the decision. Like take an example as the our human intelligence. Like if this is not the pandemic and there is no COVID scenario, then it would be our this STTP would be the offline. So I could visit Sandeep Institutes. We can see you people face to face interaction could happen. So at that time also, what is going to happen at the time of tea break or snacks break, at that time you people manage to make a group and you are going to talk with them. So at that time you are not aware of this all these people because you are meeting them first time. Still also your human brain can predict the pattern, like this 4 5 people are they are discussing about the image processing, these 4 5 people are discussing about IoT. So I would more connect with the people they are talking about the machine learning. So what our human brain is actually doing, it is trying to find out the patterns. Like again we will take another second example, like we all are the faculties. So from our class also we are looking for the pattern, like the backbencher students, these are little bit mature and these are having the fun, but yeah, they are not that much sincere than the first bench students. So this is also the pattern our human brain can predict. So same thing we are trying to uh, make the machine that could find out pattern from the data, and from that pattern it could uh, predict the future, or it can take the decisions. Now why there is need of doing this machine learning models? Can anyone having the few reasons because of that we are actually moving towards machine learning, deep learning? Can anyone tell me example or reasons why we are actually, yeah, image recognition, chess playing robot, deep learning, weather forecasting system? Exactly. So Suresh Kare sir, Meenakshi ma'am, and Samruddhi ma'am, they had given the correct examples of the AI and ML. So can anyone tell me why there is need of actually having the machine learning algorithms and the deep learning? The reason is that as we are in a digital era and lot many devices are connected to the internet using because of the internet of things, and because of that big data is generated, and from this big data we should take out some sense out of that data. Because in previous years it is always says that it is a idiom, that is the time is money, but nowadays data is a money. So from the data always we want to take out some information, and we want to use that information for our growth. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Yeah, so if there is any glitch or something, then please let me know. You can just message me on chat box. So I will check it out the internet connection.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is the main reason that, like you can take the example that is the US elections. Everyone is aware of this Cambridge Analytica scam. What they did, they have checked it out all the data of Twitter, then Facebook, and from that they understood this people liking where they are actually moving towards, and from by all this information from all the analytics, they have made their campaign, election campaign, and result is in front of us. So similar examples we can take as a Netflix. Netflix is using the big data concept, machine learning concept. Whenever means at which time users are pausing the video, at which time they are making it fast forward. From all this information, they can recommend such a this type of the web series can be recommended to this group of people. Then again, we can take a lot many examples like the lot many companies, they are giving the credit cards. So it is not like that everyone they are going to call that you want to credit card. They are also finding out the group of people, they are clustering it, and from that they are uh, from the pattern of that people, then we will make one cluster, and only such a type of emails or SMS or phone calls are directed toward that cluster. Like the females always they like to have a shopping. Then at the time of shopping, it is not like the case that each and every user or customer is getting the SMS of the of whichever there is on your shopping. They are making a cluster based on the way you shop. Lot many people are shopping at the time of whenever there is sale is given, like 50% off, 70% off. So such a type of group of customers, they are having different strategy of the selling the product. So from this you can see that there is the uh, to increase the business, this machine learning is very important. Second thing, it is important for predicting the future, like forecasting. So lot many reasons are there because we require a machine learning. Then why can't we do this all this stuff without a machine learning? Like we will say that we will write one simple program, we will give input, it will give output. But many times it is very difficult to pre-program the things. Like take an example, like if I would like to have a one robot to help me for my household work, like the my clothes that robot should place in the shelf. So what I need to do, I need to every time I need to give order, or I need to pre-program the things like such a type of clothes should be going to this shelf. So this is going to be, and this is one example. But another example, if you're going to say that uh, tennis playing. So for tennis playing, I want some next player should be robot. So at that time, I could not pre-program. That is, in if the ball is coming in this way, in this speed, then you should have such a type of a shot. So this type of programming I cannot pre-program. So in such a type of applications, we will definitely require that machine itself learn with the help of data and your uh, from the past experiences. So for this is the reason why we are going towards machine learning and deep learning. So I hope up to this slide everyone understood now what is a machine learning. If you have any question, you can raise the question at any time. You can stop me and you can ask me questions. So any questions till now? So here, this is the one slide which is very important. It is giving why actually and what is actually going to happen at the time of machine learning. So if you are going to use the train your machine, then machine could take a better decisions, and it can have the better predictions. Then it will analyze your data. Then it will have a accurate and the quick responses. So all these reasons, because of that, we are going toward the machine learning. So I think I will stop my video. Okay, so it will be more comfortable. So this is the reasons, or this is the way we are going to have the machine learning with us. So there are in this slide, I have given some few applications of ML. So one of first application, that is email spam detection. So why we are using here email? Because in email spam detection, we are not able to, humans are not able to tell machine that in such a type of email you should say that it is primary, such a type of email you should say as a your spam email. So the human incapability of telling to the machine, that is the reason of having the email. So what it is going to do, your machine will understand from the data, that is if such a type of features, then we can say that this email is spam email. Such a type of the features, we can say that this is our primary email. So by that way, using a machine learning, uh, all emails whichever coming at the inbox, that can be segregated as a spam email and your primary email. The next, and the another next very important domain of machine learning, that is nothing but the healthcare. Can anyone tell me the next example of machine learning in healthcare system? in healthcare system. Yeah, cancer prediction. Yeah, Suraj Kari, yeah, heart disease detection. Swapnil sir, Suraj Kari sir, Meenakshi ma'am, ECG. Yeah. So these are the correct examples of where we are actually using machine learning, because to saving a human life it's very precious, because uh, as whichever may be disease, if you are going to detect at early stage, then it is possible to save human life. Because of that, machine learning could help in this field, that is the healthcare domain. So nowadays lot many research is going on to detect the whether this person is having this disease or not. So for that reason, lot many robotic surgery, yeah. So instead of the human, we are going to use the robot for the surgeries, and the robot is going to be trained based on our data. Exactly. So lot many examples are there for the healthcare domain. So here what is gonna done, lot much data is provided with the machine learning algorithm, and based on that features it will understand that if such a type of features, then definitely this person will have this type of a disease. So there is a classification clustering is gonna done at the time of data, and from that predictions can be made from your machine learning algorithm. So this machine learning is not only related to our computer engineering, like this machine learning algorithms ultimately going to execute on the processor, but it is not related restricted to only computer system. So what is difference between data mining and machine learning? Samruddhi ma'am has asked this question. So in data mining, what we are actually doing in data mining, we are taking out the meaning from our data. So like you are having suppose structured data, so using your structured queries, you are going to taking out answers from it. But machine learning, what we are actually doing, from the data we are trying to train our machine, and then whenever you are going to feed new data, it will give some predictions. That is nothing but a machine learning. And this is, as this is not risk, I hope I have answered the Samruddhi ma'am. So lot many fields where we can use machine learning, as we can use from in the mechanical engineering also, because there are lot many mechanical instruments. By providing the data of the history, like these are the machines and these machines are failed after this many years, and these are the features of that machine. So such a type of data if you are going to feed, then from that it can predict that this type of machine can be fail within 15 years or after 15 years. Such a type of predictions can be done, and which is going to be very much useful. Like you can see lot many embedded companies, lot many mechanical companies, they are now moving towards the machine learning domain. Then civil engineering is also one of the big domain where machine learning can be used to detect the for damage in the structure. Like there are lot many bridges, lot many civil structures are there. So to detect the damage, we can use the machine learning. So lot many applications are there. By that, using that applications, we can improve the predictions, and we can increase the growth of business, or we can save the valuable human life. So these are the few applications only. There are lot many applications, lot many domains of machine learning, but I could only enlist few of it here on this slide. So now how it is done, whatever maybe the discussion we have done. So from that discussion we understood that we will feed some data to machine learning algorithm, we will train it, and then that machine learning model will predict the future, or it will take some decisions. So how it is going to done? So it is going to done depending on the three types. The very first is supervised learning, second is unsupervised learning, and third is reinforcement learning. Or can anyone just tell me what is the example of supervised learning? Anyone? Okay, linear regression. Yes, yes. Aries flower, yeah. These are the correct examples. So from supervised learning only, we can, it name itself explain, supervised learning. Means someone is there to supervision while learning. That is a supervised learning. Yes, classification, regression, weather forecasting, all these are the examples you can say for supervised learning. So here, the first type is supervised learning, where some supervisor is there for a learning. Means example is that if whenever you are giving data, like take an example of healthcare, because person is having diabetes and person is not having diabetes. So what is done here, the data whichever we are going to feed to machine learning, it is having the output with it. Like take example here I would like to create a machine learning model which can detect which is this fruit is. So for that I have given some data. So how I'm giving data, with data I'm giving some label, like this is called as apple, this is called as apple. So these apples are nothing but my outcomes. So this is called as banana. So whenever I'm going to give all this information to machine, so it will try to understand this type, these are the features of apple, this is the feature, this is in the shape of round, so this we will say that apple. This is the shape of banana, so this we will call as a banana. So whenever I will give another fruit to it or another type of apple to it, it will definitely say that it is apple. Because why? Because we have provided the outcome with it. So that is called as supervised learning. So we are giving outcomes with our data. And in unsupervised learning, what is done, we are giving lot much data, but at the with data we are not providing any outcome. So here we are not saying this is, you can call this as an apple, this you can call this as an apple, this you should call as a banana. We are not giving that information, we are giving just all these images. So from these images machine learning will understand that in such a type of a shape, this is called as one category, this type of shape, this is called as second type of category. So it can categorize based on your features, whichever data you have provided. So this is called as your unsupervised learning. And the last, whichever I have not taken into the slide, that is reinforcement learning. That is the third type of machine learning, where the learning can be done based on the, if you are going toward the positive learning, then you will get the rewards. If you are going towards the negative one, then you will get the penalties. Based on that experiences, you will learn to learn from that data, and then output can be given. So how this complete process happened, so you can take on you can see on these slides, that is the label data. Here I have provided one label data of different type of vehicles, and then machine is going to train. This is the label data, that is where we can say this is as a truck, this I can say as a car. So based on this machine will understand this type of features, then I should call this vehicle as a truck. This type of some features, then I should call this as a car. So this complete data we are going to provide to your model, and that model will be understood all these features based on your labels. And whenever you are going to provide a new data, then for this new data from all this trained model, it will say that yes, this new data is nothing but the car. So this is the process of complete machine learning. Whether it is supervised or unsupervised, the process is the same. The very first you will provide the images, but only in supervised you will have, with images we will have your outcome or label. In unsupervised you will not have that label. So from this, in which you will take some features, and from that features your machine is going to train, and then your model is going to create. And whenever you are giving some test input to it, it will check its features. It from the learned model, it will predict that whether it is the your tomato, or whether it is your any animal, or whether it is your apple. So this is the complete process of machine learning. Is there any question on this, the steps of machine learning? Okay, so here there are two types of super machine learning. So whichever we are going to focus here, supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So in supervised learning, there are two types: classification and regression. And there are few algorithms whichever I have mentioned here. For classification, there is a listing of algorithms. For regression also, there is some listing of algorithms. So these are not restricted to only this slide. So there may be many more algorithms. Uh, I I haven't added here that, but that are also used for classification and regression. So here in this today's topic, I am going to focus more on classification algorithms. So before that, we will see why there is actually need of regression, why you are using a regression algorithms. Can anyone tell me when and why you should use regression algorithms? You can tell me answer on your chat box. Okay, let me again modify my question. We are having data, and from that data, we would like to create one model that can predict whenever we are going to give a input exactly. So I don't know what is the name, that is DAP, but it's correct. That is the exact reason why we should use regression. So we should use the regression whenever from whichever data from for that we want to train our machine, and it should give outcome whenever your output is the continuous values. Like take an example, house price prediction system. So I want to sell my property, and I would like to check that how much money I will get from that property. So suppose I'm having 2 BHK flat in Pune city. So how much value I will get whenever I'm going to sell it. So for that, if I want to build a model, build a machine learning model, then what I will do, I will provide the 20 or 30,000 feature of samples of data to machine learning algorithm. Samples means this is the type of house, then this is the area of square foot, and it got this price. So I will have the price as output and some features. So I will provide such a data. Then machine will understand that if area is so and so, if this is the location, then this will be the price. Example. So whenever I will give input to this machine learning algorithm, my house which is having suppose 3000 square foot, then it will predict some value. So do you think this value is going to be some fixed values like only 50 lakh or 40 lakh or 60 lakh? Can you just categorize these answers? You cannot categorize this answer because these are the continuous value. You may get 41 lakh something, you may get 42 lakh something, or you may get only 60 lakh or likewise. So your answers are continuous. So at that time you should go for regression. And when you should go for classification, whenever your output is the finite set. Means take an example, if I'm going to ask that whether this person will have a diabetes or not, so answers are only two, that is either yes or no. So person may have this disease or person is not having this disease, only two answers. Then second, the email spam detection, whether this email is a spam email or not, so answers are only two, yes or no. Or we can take some another example like uh, in India, we are having always the voting after each 5 years. So whether this person will vote to the BJP, Congress, or some another third party. So there will be answer that he may vote for BJP or he may vote for the Congress, or if he may wait for some another third, whatever maybe the categories there. So there will be your outcomes are the fixed, or it you can say that is finite. So these are the discrete values. So whenever your output is a discrete, then at that time you should go for the classification algorithms. Everyone understood up to this? Any questions? Why there is need of classification? So there are two type of classification. That is the binary classification and the multi-class classification, whichever I had already explained. That is the whenever there are only two answers, two outcomes of your prediction, then you will say this is the binary classification. Whenever you are having more than two classes, then you can say this is a multi-class classification. So now we will discuss these four algorithms in today's session for classification algorithm, that is the logistic regression, super vector machines, decision tree, and random forest. So we will start with very first logistic regression. Am I audible to everyone? Thank you. Okay, so we will move towards the logistic regression. So I have taken for this algorithm, I have taken data set of the people who are having diabetes, and if you are not having diabetes, means a diabetes database I have taken. So this is not I have not taken from any like downloaded from any Keras or anywhere. I have just created myself using one Excel sheet. I would like to show it to you. So here you can see on the screen, that is I have taken age parameter only, and I have taken whether they has taken insurance or not. So this is the Excel sheet I have created. Now from logistic regression, I would like to create a logistic regression model. And from that, if I am going to give the input to it, some age, then it should predict that whether that person will buy your insurance policy or not. So for this we have done. So there are only two answers, either yes or no. So answer can be yes, person will buy your insurance, or person is not gonna buy your insurance. So to understand this, I have visualized this data. I have used graph, and in this scatter graph, we have plotted this information. So you can see that few people have not buy this insurance and few people have taken insurance. So for this, if I want to create a model, then how we will do it? So in previous lectures, I think you have already seen the linear regression. So definitely if you are aware of linear regression, then you will try to use linear regression over here. So if I'm going to use linear regression, what I will do? I will plot a base fitted line. How to plot a base fitted line in linear regression? Which is the concept, which is the formula we use? We use line equation, that is y exactly. Swapnil sir correctly said y is equal to mx plus c. And how this line is going to be searched? It is based on gradient descent. So gradient descent we will use because there may be plenty of lines. So we are not going to calculate error cost for each and every line. What we will do? We will take a gradient descent and we will take a jumps steps, and based on that steps we will find out the line which is having the lowest error. And for that lowest error, I think everyone is aware of that, we are using root mean square method. So based on that, the line which is having the lowest cost, that is going to be taken as your base fit line. So for this data we have find out, suppose this line. So for this line, if I would like to now predict, then what I'm going to do, I will take the middle of it. So whenever the value, whichever going to be predicted by this linear regression line, if it is below 0.5, I will say its output is 0. If I'm going to take above this line, if it is going to be above this line predicted value, then we will say that the person will take a insurance. How? We will see the demonstration over here. Okay, so if I'm going to take, suppose giving input 38, then what is going to happen? I think everyone is aware of this linear regression. So it will be plot this line here, and whatever may be the value, this is less than 0.5. So we are going to round it off to 0, means what? That person is not gonna take a insurance. So that will be output of your machine learning algorithm. So if we are going to take, suppose 42, then this is above 0.5, so it is rounded up to 1. So but linear regression is not going to give value 1 on 0, it will give some in between, not in between 0, it will give any value. Like if I am having the person, if I am going to take above 80, then definitely it will have value more than 1. So definitely this is not actually we require value between 0 and 1. Again there is another, let me erase it. Okay, again there is another story, that if there is outlier in your data set, if suppose there is outlier, then what is going to happen? Whichever line you have taken as a best fit, it may possible it is deviated, it will be now this is a best fitted because of this outliers in your program, in your data set. Then what is going to happen? Whichever may be correct output, it is going to be predicted wrongly. Like you can see here, because of this line, because of this outlier, these 3 people who has taken the insurance, our prediction will show that these people are not taking the insurance. How? We will see this. If we are going to give this age, then for this age, this is the, and it is below, you can see this is a below 0.5. So our model, machine learning model will say that these people are not going to take insurance. So if the point from all these slides is that if you are going to use logistic regression, then linear regression for such a type of data, then your accuracy will be less than 50. Plus, whenever there is the outliers, then at that time it will have more than a value 1 or 0. So it is going to be very difficult using the linear regression. So for that is the reason we are going to use logistic regression. So in logistic regression, what we would like to see, we will like to see such a line that will go through all your these points. So this shape we would like to take, and that is called as sigmoid. So you will see from this, if you are going to use a linear regression for such a type of data, then your output may be more than less than 0 and more than 1. And if you are going to use logistic regression, then your value, predictive values are kept between 0 and 1. And how it is going to done? This is going to done using the sigmoid function. This is the sigmoid function, that is 1 upon 1 plus e raised to z. So instead of z, you will give your line, whichever line, base fitted line, which in logistic regression, definitely you will not use root mean square. You will use different strategy to find out this baseline. And that baseline is function is given to your sigmoid. And what is the function of sigmoid? To keep your values between 0 and 1. So whatever may be output, that it will keep into 0 and 1. Any questions till now? Any questions? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So this is the reason why we are going in for logistic regression, and this is the reason we are not using actually the linear regression. So first, I think before going forward, we will see the use cases of logistic regression. So I hope everyone is having Anaconda with them. So I'm going to use Jupyter window, Jupyter editor. If you want, you can work with parallelly with me. I can share you the. You can start implementing with me if you want. So I have shared the insurance Excel sheet with you people, so you can start implementing. So here we can see that to implement any machine learning algorithm, what very first you need to do, you need to download dataset from the web. You can use different web scraping tools, or you can directly download from GitHub or the Keras. From that, you can directly download Excel sheet or CSV files. And whenever we want to implement this data set should be taken into our data frames, that is in pandas library. So if you are new to this machine learning, then I suggest you to read pandas library. Just a second. Okay, so I will suggest you to read pandas library, NumPy library, and the matplot library. So these are the few basic libraries that you should read before going for the machine learning. So here I am going to import pandas as PD. So I am importing the pandas library, which is used of we are going to use this library to read our data set, and then we are going to manipulate on that data set. Then another library matplotlib, where we will take it to plot our data because whenever you are doing any application, at that time visualization of this data is very important, because whenever you are going to visualize it graphically, then definitely we'll understand more about the data. That is what is the pattern of your data. So in complete machine learning course, you are going to learn that how to find out the patterns. This is only important task. If your machine learning algorithm could uh, find out that pattern accurately, then your accuracy is going to be increased. So matplotlib is required to plot or visualize your data. So I have taken the matplotlib, I have imported as PLT. Then I'm having my data set in Excel file. So I'm going to read it using pd.excel. That I'm taking into data frame. So DF is nothing but a data frame. Data frame means you can say this is the rows and columns. So your data will be taken into rows and columns. So in that, rows are nothing but the samples, columns are nothing but the features. So like here you can see here age and the status of insurance, whether that person has taken insurance or not. These two are nothing but the features of my data set. So in my this data set, I'm having two features, and I'm having the 26 samples. So this is called as row are called as samples, and columns are as called as the features. So very first you should always read this, take this data set into data frame, and then you need to see that what is there, means how many columns are there and how data is look like. So you should always use, this is the df.head, because right now in my insurance file only 26 entries are there. So if I'm not going to use head, then 26 complete data set is going to be here. So I don't want to visualize all the thousands of records. So I would like to see only first five. So I will use df.head. Now I would like, if you want to check it out what are the columns, then you can use the property of data frame, that is name is column. So how you will do it, you just need to write a df here. If you're going to write a df dot and give a tab, so it will have a listing, complete listing of the features for that data frame. Okay, Python file. Okay, I will share. Yeah, I have shared this also, the Python file. Okay. So now, before start implementing or before creating a model, machine learning model, always recommended that you should look for the data. So how we are going to look for data? Just plot it. So I have used scatter plot, and using a scatter plot, I have plotted this data. So how to do it? There is the, you can just check it out, your Jupyter information or Python information documents. You can see in that documents, you will see what are the inputs required for scatter plot. So if you want to see, just give a shift tab on scatter name. So it will give all information. So it is required x-axis, y-axis information, lot many informations are there. So if you're having time, you can just check it out. What are the other parameters? But here I have taken the important parameters, is age and your insurance status. So x-axis and y-axis information I had given. How to plot a data? If you want to plot as a star, then you can do that. Whichever color you want, you can plot it. So after looking this data, I'm going to see that, yeah, I'm going to use logistic regression over here, because it is having two classes, two outputs. So whenever you want to implement this logistic regression or any machine learning algorithm, what we are actually going to do, we will provide few data for a training and few data we will keep for a testing. Like if I'm having thousands of samples, then in thousands of sample, what I will do, 700 samples I will give for a training. Training means to learn a model. That model will be learned from that data. Like this age, then this age person has taken insurance. This type of age person has not taken insurance. So this way your machine will train, and another 300 samples I will keep for the testing. So to do this, what you can do, you will just import train test split from the your skn library. So skn library is very important. Or you can look the information of sklearn in your Python documentation also, or you can just check it out towards data science. From that also you can learn more about sklearn library. And from that we have taken trend state split. And now what we are going to do, we will provide our 80% of data. How much data we had? 26 samples. So among 26 sample, we will give 80% of samples for a train, and we will keep 20% of samples for testing. So how we will do that? We will do that using train test split. So in train test split, you will give your features. Here I have given age and insurance status, and how many samples I should, these are the features. Here we will write features. Then how many samples we should give, that we will give as a train underscore size. So here you can write train underscore size, or you can write test underscore size. So if I am writing test underscore size means I will give 0.2, because 20% I want to give for test. Which are the features? If you want to see, you can do same thing, shift tab. So you can just use the shift tab, you can read more, whatever maybe more information about it, you can do that. That way also you can shift tab, and then you will get all information about it. So which type of input features it is taking, as parameters it is taking. So whenever it is, you will provide this complete data set. You have provided complete data set to your trend state split, and you are giving how much size it should take for training. So what this trend test split will do, it will take a 80% samples. So what will be the sample of 20, what will be the 80% of 26? It will be your 21 or 22. So 21 or 22 samples will be taken as your train, X train and Y train. So what will be the next train? In X train, there will be your age samples. So age values will be in X train, and in Y train, there will be your corresponding insurance status value will be there. And in remaining 5-6 samples, like 20% samples will be there in X test, and 20% will be in Y test. Is there any question till now? How we have split it? Yeah, it's you said correctly. I think sample size is very small. This is for understanding how we are going to implement a logistic regression. For next application, I have directly downloaded big data sets, and for that we are gonna do again logistic regression. This is for understanding. That is how you should implement a logistic regression. So that is for understanding only. I have created one Excel sheet. So this, we are not actually doing any application over here. We are not working for any specific application. This is for understanding how you should do a logistic regression. So I hope I have uh, given the answer, whichever query there is. So here, okay. So basically, traditional statistics and ML, why I have taken this small data set over here, the reason is only that we need to understand, that is how we are going to implement a logistic regression over here. So if you want to do it for the big data set, then just you need to download it, and you will do the same process whichever I am going to tell. So here, is there any question for trend test and split? How we have splitted our data for training and testing? So here, instead of trend size, you can give also test size. That is also done. So you can see here what is there, which samples it has taken for train. That is X and Y. X will be your age and Y will be your insurance status. You can see that. So this, by this, we are going to split our data set for training and testing. And now when I want to now implement a logistic regression, yeah, what is a random state? So here random state is nothing but why I have taken this random state, because it can be anything, 12 or any number, but whenever you are taking the one number, then at whenever you are going to execute this, at that time randomly only that samples are going to be picked up for training and testing. So if I'm not going to give this random state, then always these samples are not going to be taken, like just execute it. I'm executing it. What is the extent? You can see these are the simple. these are the same for 50. It has taken 55, this row, same values they are taking randomly each and every time. Why we do that? We do that, this random state, why we do that? Whenever I want to check it out, the accuracy of my model, then I am making some few changes in my model, then whether it is increasing the accuracy of my model because of whatever changes I have done, because of that it is increasing, or it may possible that if you are not going to take this, next time it will take randomly another samples. So based on your training data, definitely your accuracy is going to change. So whenever you want to check your accuracy of your system, with suppose we will take your colleagues, like we will take 10-15 colleagues, and you all are working on some one data set. So it may possible if you are not going to take your random state, then every on each and every machine it will take random another samples for a train, and it may possible the person in which system randomly the very uh, al- samples which are very much linear that are selected, because of that his or her accuracy is more than yours. So that is the reason we are using the random state. I hope everyone is getting. Yeah, the same process will not be applicable as accuracy and bias will be increased. Here I'm again trying to explain that what actually we are doing here. We are taking a data set. You should download a data set, look for that data set. If it is a binary classification, then you should use the logistic regression. And what are the steps you should take it for the uh, classification. So the next question is asked, ML is possible in small data set? Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so here you can see, I hope I have answered. That is why random state 12 I have taken. The random state 12, if you want, you can take another number also. You can take another number also. So if you are taking some number, then every time for that number, whichever may be random samples, that random samples will be taken every time. So whenever you are going to execute this, suppose I am executing this is for 10 times, then every 10 times only these samples are going to be picked up. You will see that. If I'm not going to use this, suppose I'm not going to use this, then every time it will take another samples, because it is, are you getting? Now again I will execute it. So you will see that it will take some another samples. Everyone understood this, why I've used random samples? So whatever may be questions, you can please throw it to me. You can see now. So that is the reason why we should use the okay, DF age and DF insurance status. Please explain the difference. Okay. Here, this is nothing but your age column. This is the insurance status column. This column we can say as a label. This is the label of your data set. So data set output is 0 and 1. So and age is your independent variable, and this is a dependent variable. So I hope everyone is aware of this dependent and independent variable. So this is age is nothing but independent variable. So whenever you will give your y is equal to mx plus c, if you are going to say example as a linear regression, if you are giving the your independent variable to your model, then it will predict your y is nothing but dependent variable. So whenever I will provide age to your logistic regression, it will give this output either 0 or 1. So to train and test, to training, what you need to provide? You need to provide some set of ages, and respect to age, what is the insurance? So this DF dot status means data from this data set I am taking this column. From this data set I am taking this column. So you can directly use DF dot age also. So this is a way of writing the ML code. So you can use either one. So here to implement a logistic regression, I will import logistic regression class from the sklearn library. And for this class, I am going to create a model object. So this object log underscore model, this is the user defined name. This is the logistic regression class. For this class, I am going to create the uh, mod your object, and this object is going to be provided your X train and Y train. Now this X train and Y train is going to be provided to this model using in the fit function. This is very important function in each and every machine learning algorithm, whether it is your logistic regression or a linear regression. Yes, any question?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So here, this in this fit function, the actual stuff is gonna done, whichever I had explained. That is, it will check which it will find out the correct line, which is going to be classify the people who has taken insurance and people who has not taken insurance. So it is this fit function is going to find out the your exact the okay. So your fit in your fit function, it will find out exactly how your data is going to be classified. So that is going to be done in everything done in your fit function. So from this fit function, it will train from your age. For this respective age, this is the insurance status. For this respective age, this is this insurance status. And from this information, your fit function will calculate the your line, and from that line your model is going to be trained. And now if we are going to give this model as some input, it will predict that whether that person is going to take insurance or not. Like we will just execute here. So if I'm going to give 35, it will say yes, person will take a insurance. If I'm going to say 28, it will say no, person is not going to take a insurance. If I'm going to say 29, it will say yes, it will take a insurance. So you can say 20 is nothing but the boundary it got this fit logistic regression got, that is below 28 age. If I'm going to give input, it will always say that person is not going to take a buy a insurance, or person if I'm going to about 28, it will say that yeah, or the person is going to take a insurance. So now if you want to check it out accuracy of your model, then how we are going to check it. So for that, what you need to do, you need to use a score function. How we are getting these functions? Write down only log model and then give dot and tab. So here you will get all the functions whichever you require. Okay. Then similarly here I am giving dot and tab. Then here I am getting score function. So score function you can take for the finding out the accuracy. To finding out the accuracy, you should give X test data and Y test. How this accuracy is going to find out? What for this X test, it will predict some Y values, and it will check it out. What are the actual Y? That is Y test is nothing but your actual Y, and what the Y is predicted by your model. So it will check it out how much correct predictions has done by our model, and based on that it will give accuracy. So yes, I have taken very less data set, and because of that, it is giving the accuracy of 100%. It may vary based on your data set and whichever model learning model you have used. So is there any question till this? Any questions? Okay, so this is I have used only one feature, that is the age for predicting the output. So in real life there may be lot many features. It is not always possible that there is only one feature and you need to predict. There may be more than one features. Then in that also, how we are going to do, I have already created one file. In that I am taking the data set. I have downloaded this data set from I think Kera or GitHub. I think from that I have taken this data set. So here again same thing I am going to do. I will import pandas. I will import your data set, and now I have checked this data set, means how it first few samples I have checked it out. So how many features are there? These are all are the features. And what is the outcome? This is nothing but your label. So this label is saying that such a type of values, if person is having, then person is having the diabetes. If such a type of features with the person, then person is not having the diabetes. So such a Excel sheet is CSV sheet is there. I can show you that CSV also. So it is having more. data set. So it is having more samples. As sir, someone has said that yes, if you are going to take a few samples, then definitely accuracy is going to change, because whenever we are creating the data set by our own, at that time this data set the always has the some bias in that, because we have created that data set. So in our mind always we are aware of this is the output of these inputs. One question is there. Okay. Okay, there is no question. Okay, so here we have taken these are the features and this is the outcome. Now this is a multivariable, like multiple variables are there, multiple independent variables are there, and one is your label. So your this is nothing but again your binary classification. So because we are having only two outputs, that is either 0 or 1, so we are going to read your data set. We will check it out its information. Why we are checking out information? Because whenever you are taking you are downloading data set from somewhere, actually nowadays data sets are very much cleaned, but if you are having some real time job or some application in company, then definitely data set is not going to be cleaned. This is not actually prepared data set, so you need to prepare your data set. So lot many big stories there, that is you need to handle, you need to handle outliers, lot many stuff is there. So for that you need to check it out, how many missing values are there, how many null values are there. So this you can check it out. Now whatever maybe data set you have taken, first I will take how much variables, how much features I would like to take as a x, and what is our y is nothing but output. So all these columns of your excel sheet I have taken into one feature, and from the features means all this I'm taking as a x. So this is a way of writing, you can directly write here x also, that is also okay. And here I'm taking y as your outcome. So I hope you are getting here. In previous example we have age and as a x independent variable, and dependent variable was y, that is whether that person will buy insurance or not. Similarly here x is nothing but the person's features, like is its glucose level, blood pressure level, then insulin level, BMI level, and his age. These are nothing but these values. Based on these values we will predict that whether person is having diabetes or not. So this output will be yes or 0 or 1, that is yes or no, that will be at y. So why we are not taking yes or no? Because everyone is aware our ML algorithms are working on numerical data, not on the our textual data. So that's why here is our zeros and ones and numerical values are there. If it is not, then you will use encoding schemes. There are a lot many encoding schemes. Then, okay, what is overfitting? I will answer to that question. So overfitting is actually whenever you are trying to find out the line, at that time you are using each and every sample. Because of that, what is going to happen? Your line is going to be very much complex. That is the overfitting. And because of overfitting, lot many advantage and disadvantage also. In overfitting you will get the accuracy, test accuracy is very good, train accuracy is very good, but whenever you are testing, at that time you will have the less testing accuracy because of overfitting. So I hope I have answered. Now here we have taken this x as these features and y as your outcome. Then again, the way I have explained, we have done training and testing data. We have splitted our data using train test split. Here I have taken 75% for training and 25% for testing. Here I have used test underscore size. In previous example, we have used train underscore size. So here I have used random state as a 90. And now I have imported logistic regression class from skn library, and I have created one object, and to this object I have feeded my x train and y train. So this fit function is going to find out the baseline which will classify people which are having the diabetes and which are not having the diabetes. So this is going to classify, it will find out that baseline in the fit function. So that's why I'm saying that this fit function is very important. And then model accuracy you can see using providing X test and Y test. So you can see here, my model I am having 76%. Why it happens sometimes result is good on testing data but not in training data. As I have said, the answer here for if you are using the overfitting at that time, definitely for testing it will have the high accuracy. Why? Because we have used each and every sample, and based on that we are trying to find a complex line. Like it will classify each and every sample, means there is no any misclassification for any single sample. So because of that it is very complex line, and because of that whenever you are giving a testing, whichever test data is given, because of that complex line it may possible your test input is going to be misclassified. So I will show that in PPT at the time of SVM, how why there is that is called as also in SPM called as a regularization. So if you are increasing a regularization means you are taking complex lines, then because of that your training accuracy increase and testing is going to be lower down. So it happens only because of the overfitting, and it is also happened because of the way your data set is taken for training. So now I will again model predict, and you can predict the information like whether person will have your diabetes or not. So now here one question, important question is that I have used all these features, whichever features is given. So is it like that whenever there is a data set in few type of data sets or in real time application, there are the 50 or 60 or hundreds, more than hundreds features are there. Then is it like that we are going to use all 100 columns like a features to train our model? Definitely not, because few features it may possible in your data set, some features are not having that much effect on your outcome. So you should not use such a features. You should use only features which is having high impact on your outcome. Then how you will find out that which among these features, which features should be selected for your training a model? So that you can do in, there are lot many ways, but one way whichever I am using, that is nothing but a correlation. So what you will do, you will find out the correlation, that is there are, you can say like take an example of house and price. So in linear regression, so house price is going to increase with the area of your house. So if my area of house is 2000 square foot, I will get 40 lakhs. If my area of house is 3000 square foot, I will get the 50 lakhs. So best means area of house and house price, these are very much correlated to each other. Means if you are going to increase the area of house, your uh, the price of house will be increased. So it is always not only positive, there is again negative correlation also. Like if you are going to take same example, if your house is built at 5 years back, then you will get suppose 45 lakhs. If your house is built at more than 10 years back, then definitely you will get less amount, that is 40 lakhs or 38 lakhs. So it is correlated, but it is negatively correlated with each other. So both type of correlations are very important, because both are making impact on your outcome. So you will find out the correlation of your features with your outcome, and whichever features is having more correlation, that you will take for training a data. So what I have done, I have taken correlation, and I have taken a correlation with what outcome, with all features, all other features going to be find out correlation with outcome. And this is what I got. I got that the glucose is having high correlation with outcome. Then age is also having the correlation. BMI is also having the higher correlation. So I will write some threshold. This is up to you, which threshold you want to take. So I have taken, this is the threshold. So based on this threshold, whichever having above correlation value, these features I will take only for my training a model. So I have taken these three features, glucose, BMI, age, for training our logistic regression model. So I'm taking this X1 as these three features, and Y is my outcome. Similarly, I'm going to split my data for training and testing, 75% for training, 25% for testing. And if you are going to look, again, I have created my logistic regression model. And if you're going to see here, I'm having 79% of the accuracy, and here I had, I think, 76. Are you getting? How to find out the best features which that we can take for the training a model. This we can do using the correlation. Is there any questions till now? Any questions? Okay. Am I audible? Can we combine more than one algorithm? Yes, definitely we can do that. Or we can combine more than one algorithm. And like you can say in ensemble learning also, we are having the more than one algorithms. So now we will see. Okay, so if we are having logistic regression for classification, then why we are going for another algorithm, that is the SVM algorithm? Can anyone have any opinion about this? Why there is need of the SVM algorithm? Like you have seen that whichever may be data in logistic regression, that is a linear data. Like you can see here, this is a linear data. But in real-time applications, it is not possible that always you will have the linear data. It may possible you have exactly correct. You have given correct answer. That is the Durga Devi has given correct answer. Data is non-linear. Yes. So whenever there is a non-linear data, then definitely you can use logistic regression, but you will have very less accuracy, like less than 50% or less than 40%. And if your model is having less than 30-40% accuracy, then definitely why we will use that model? Because definitely why we are creating models for predicting the future. And if your future predicted wrongly, miscorrect classification has been done by your model, then definitely your model is not going to be used anywhere. So that for that you will have higher accuracy. So for that reason, SVM we are going to use whenever there is a non-linear data. Non-linear means you can see this. Okay, so this is the data. There is a square of your blue color and green color, and I would like to plot a line which can classify these samples correctly. So can we do that? Can we write a line over here? We cannot create a line which can correctly classify this blue and green squares. We cannot do that. In such a type of cases, in such a type of nonlinear data, you can use SVM. And what is done in such a type of data? That is not the scope of this our presentation here, but yeah, I would like to tell that in SVM we are having kernels, that is RBF kernel. Then we are having polynomial kernels. So what these kernels are actually doing, whichever your data set in your lower dimension, this data is now in lower dimension, that is X and Y. This lower dimension data is going to be converted to the higher dimension data, like you can see here. Here, this data, we have used some equation, and by this equation, we have transferred your data from lower dimension to higher dimension. Like lower dimension is X two dimension. This is a 2D, and now this is your 3D data. This is the x-axis, this is the z-axis, and y-axis is nothing but perpendicular to our the screen. So we cannot see that, but yeah, this way, this kernels of your SVM going to convert your data from lower dimension to higher dimension, and by that way you can find the line which can classify correctly your data. So this is the reason you are using the SVM. So SVM is used for your linear data also and non-linear data also. So here we will see now with this example, we will see the SVM. So here I have plotted for X and Y, few data is there. Then how to classify this data? So as I had given example, why we are using SVM. So there may be a non-linear data, but for linear data also we are using SVM. So we will see how this best classification line is going to be find out. And it is called as the hyperplane in SVM. So these are the stars and these are the circles. So this A line also classifying this but not that correctly. But B line also can classify. C line is also classifying this data. So how to find out the best line? So here you can see this black line, red line, this blue line, all these three lines are able to classify this data. Then which is the best line? How we can say that this is the best line, this is the best, or this is best? Because this is correctly classifying, isn't it? So here in SVM, they have used a strategy that is called the higher margin. Like here, if you are going to take this line, then if I am saying that whatever may be the boundary, data set at boundary, and here data set at boundary, if you are going to see difference between this is very small margin. So this line is such a way plotted. If here I am having this circle, if here I am having, so at this point, if I am having the, at this point, suppose, let me draw, then you will understand. If I am here at this point, if I am having, here I am having this square, then it is going to be classified as a circle. But it is a wrong classification, because if you are going to check it out here, if I am taking this line, and if you are going to find out the nearest closest your data set, and here your closest data set at both sides, and if you are going to see a margin, this is having the large margin. So if I am going to write your square here, so it is going to be accurately classified. This is called as a square, but here it is called as circle. You will see, you can see this. I have pointed at the same position, but because of your classification line, this, it is classified wrongly, and because of this, it is classified correctly. So in SVM, always try to find out the line which is having the higher margin. And how it is done? This is done based on this, the support vectors. These two are called as support vectors. Support vectors means it is line going to your boundary points which are at your boundary, and which is both sides, and then whichever may be the support vectors which is having higher margin, that support vectors are going to be selected, and then that hyperplane is going to be taken as your SVM hyperplane to classify your data set. Is there any question till now? Understood up to this? That is the why we are using the hyperplanes over here. So if you are having 2D data, you will have single line. If you are having more than 2-dimensional data, definitely you will have a hyperplane to classify your data. So if yes, someone has asked me about the overfitting and other some points. So here you can see that whenever you are finding out the support vectors, your hyperplane, at that time, if you are using only few, the beauty of SVM is that it is not actually using complete data set. So memory required for SVM is less than other algorithms, because here to find out your line, you are not going to use the complete data set. You are going to use the data set which is at boundary. So how you are going to define to your algorithm? So you can do it using the gamma variable. So whenever you are taking a high gamma value, the meaning is that you are taking only few samples, very less samples which are very much close to your boundary. And whenever you are having low gamma, means you are taking more samples, means far away samples also you are taking to calculate the your boundary line, your hyperplane. The next is regularization. The question someone has asked about the overfitting. So if I am trying to overfit my data, if I am trying to find out the line which can classify each and every point correctly, then your this line will be complex, and this is called as you are having the high regularization. So it will go for the, it will raise the problem of overfitting. And if you are taking your C value low, then meaning is that it is correctly classifying, but it may have few samples are wrongly classified, because you are not trying to find out the 100% accurate line over here. So these are the two features you can calibrate. So it is called as hyper tuning and some hyper parameters that you can change to your model, and you can see your accuracy of your model. Is there any question on SVM? Am I audible? Okay, thank you. So if I will show you use case afterwards implementation, I would like to discuss about the next algorithm decision tree. Which kernel is better? Actually, if you are going to use RBF kernel, then uh, that is actually you can use for any type of data which is having very complex line. That time you can go for RBF one. So RBF is the best kernel you can see of SVM. So this now next algorithm, that is the decision tree. Now why we are using the decision tree? Because it is very much analogous to similar to your human brain. Like take an example, you have joined this, register this HTTP. You had some questions in your head, that is whether it is the 5 days course, whether it is AICTE approved, uh, then only you have said yes to this course. Otherwise, if it is not AICTE approved, if it is only one day, then only few people will going to join to. I'm not just don't take me wrong, but yeah, these are the few questions always. Like if you want to join a company, then few questions you will ask definitely. Like I am from Pune, so if I want to switch a job, then definitely I will look for the location Pune, because I don't want to relocate. The next question will be whether they are giving me same more package than whichever currently I am having. The next thing, whether their timings are uh, less or better than the whichever I'm currently working. So few questions are there, and based on that questions, I will give my answer. Yes, I will join this company, or I will not join this company. So as a human brain is working same way as your decision tree algorithms. So in decision tree, if your data is look like this, then we will try to find out the boundaries. Like these are going to be divided like this is again divided. So we are always trying to find out the boundary in your machine learning algorithms. So in decision tree, how it is done, like take an example here. I am having one data set of to predicting whether person will get the package more than the $1,000. So I want to create a model for that, whether that person will get more salary than 1,000 or not. So for that, I am having this data set, and for this data set, I have created my decision tree. So first, what I have checked that which company very first. So which company? So I'm having three answers. That is Google, Facebook, ABC Pharma. This data set I'm having. So in Google, if person is having this post like business manager, then yes, he is having more than uh, dollar salary. If he is a computer programmer and if he is master only, then he is having that much salary. If he is in Google and he is computer programmer and is not having master's degree, then he will not have the more than 1,000 salary. In company Facebook, everyone is having 1,000 more than 1,000 salary. In ABC Pharma, you can see that. So based on this, whenever there is, my model is going to be trained based on this tree, and whenever I will feed the data, like new data is that person is having bachelor's and he is getting post business manager and he is applying to ABC Pharma, so whether he will get the more than 1,000 salary. So what your decision tree algorithm will do, it will come to this tree. So you are having ABC Pharma business manager, you are having bachelor degree, and then definitely your or the decision tree algorithm will say that no, you will not get more than $1,000 salary over there in that company. If I'm trying for the Facebook, then it will go to tree Facebook. Yes, you will get, definitely you will get $1,000 salary, more than 1,000 salary. But here question is that how we have taken this company as a root node. Why not you have taken this your degree as the root node? Why you are not taken post? What is a post as a root node? So this is the main question at the time of decision tree. That is the how to select ordering of your features, and this is done in the two important ways. Very first is you are using the information gain, and second is your Gini impurity. So here we are not going in the details of that mathematically, but yes, for information gain, it is find out the entropy. What is entropy? Can anyone? What is entropy? Entropy is nothing but the measure of randomness. So how much randomness in your data, that is going to be check it out. So if you are going to take a company, then for company in Facebook, all six is having S answer. So it is having a low entropy, means there is no randomness. Everyone is having answer S. Yes, all are having getting 1,000, more than 1,000 salary. What is our here output? Output is whether he will get more than 1,000 salary, that is yes or no. So for ABC Pharma, we are having one value S and all three are no. Same way for degree, if you are going to check, then for bachelor's it is having the four is having another no values. So you will see that randomness is more whenever you are going to see degree, and randomness is less whenever you are going to see camp company. So it is having high information gain and it is having a low information gain. So based on this, you are going to select the best node or best feature which is having higher information gain as your root node. Then for next stage of your decision tree, again you will see which is the feature is having higher gain, that will taken as your second nodes, and based on this your tree is going to be generated. Is there any question till now? Now if we are having decision tree, then why we are having the random forest? Here in decision tree, what we are doing, complete data set is given to your model. Your model is going to learn based on complete data set, and it will select one best feature which is having higher information gain, or your the lower Gini impurity, that is going to be selected as your best node, and based on that best tree is going to be find out. But it is always based on your data set. So if you are going to take a sample of data set, it may possible for that samples some another feature is having high impurity. Another few samples, set of samples, it may possible some another feature is having high impurity. So this concept is taken as random forest, that your complete data set, it will create for different sets of samples, it will create different trees, and from all trees it will take an answer yes or no, and whichever maybe the answer is having higher majority, that answer is going to be taken as your final output of your the random forest algorithm. Is there any question till now? Am I audible? Okay, thank you. So now we will see the few use cases for very first SVM. So here it is not always you need to download a data set. Many times data sets are uh, provided with our the sklearn library. So if you see import pandas, then sklearn data sets, if you are going to see, then you will have just use the import keyword. You will get the listing of data sets, whichever with sklearn. So in sklearn already it is data set is there. So in Aries dataset, what you are actually doing? You are classifying your flowers in the different categories. That is the Cetaceae, versicolor, and virginica. So these are the three categories. In that, you are going to classify based on your sepal length and petal length. Based on sepal length and petal length and width of flower, you are going to classify this flower based on these three categories. So this is the data set. So how to load it? Just from sklearn, you need to take a data set, and from that data sets, you need to import whichever data set you want. So I want the Aries data set. I will just, here you can just execute. I can show you. If you are going to take a load, so you can see here, lot many data sets are there. So this data set, whichever data set you require, you can just take it, download it. So this data set I have taken into the Aries variable. Here you can see what are the features in that Aries dataset using the feature name. So these are the inbuilt, you can say the variables. You can check it out using dot and tab. Here you can see that for in this Aries dataset, what you can see complete data, you can see features name, you can see the target names also. You can see here, you can see target names. So what will be the target names? These are the target names: Setosa, versicolor, virginica. So I have taken this data set in data frame. So these are the samples which I will take for training a data, and this will be my output. What will be the output? That is a target. Target is nothing but 0 is of one type, that is suppose Setosa, 1 is for versicolor and 2 is for virginica. So it is a multi-class classification. So I have taken in X, I will take these features. Which features? These features. And in Y, I will take this target feature. Target will be my Y and X will be my these things. So here I have plotted this plot. If you want, you can plot this plot and you can check it out. Now how to do it, how to create a SVM model. You can just use train test split to split your data for training and testing. Just a second. Again, then you can just split your data. I have split it 80 and 20, 80% for training, 20% for testing. And you need to import from sklearn, you need to import SVC. And that you need to create a object for that, and you need to use a fit function. By this way, you can implement your SVM. And if you want to hypertune your model, that is here I am getting score 96%. If I want to hypertune, then you can use whichever I had explained, two parameters, that is regularization and gamma. So that you can change here. So C is equal to 1 I have given. If I am giving C is equal to 10, then you can see there is a difference in accuracy. Similarly, you can change a gamma also. So if I am giving the lower samples, then I am getting a better accuracy. If I am giving the more gamma, means more points you are taking to calculate boundary, then you are getting the lower your accuracy. Then you may have you can use different kernels also. You may use the linear kernel, or you can use the RBF kernel. So by default there is RBF. You can change your kernel here also. So by this way you can tune your algorithm. So is there any question? Okay, so I think other implementations are also there. So what I will do, I will just share that Python files and dataset with you. You can just go through that. Is there any question now? Sushant sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm done with. So if there is any question, yes,
Yes.
definitely. I will share all the datasets and all the files for like SVM, for decision tree, for logistic regression. All files I will definitely share with you. So
Yes. Any questions from the participant side?
if you need my contact number, then here is my contact number. You can contact me at any time, or you can just drop an email to me, or you can just WhatsApp me. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you for such a nice words. Yes, sir, Sushant sir.
Yes. Participants, I have unmute you. You can ask directly by unmuting yourself.
Thank you, Sridhar sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Mahendra sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Mostly,
Pulak.
ma'am already answered the questions, each and every questions.
So, yeah, I think there is no question right now.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thanks a lot for the nice words, and thank you for feedback.
Hello.
Yeah, sir. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I have a small question. While importing the CSV file, whether we can able to use a URL, madam, directly about the data set.
Okay, so you can do that. You can directly use URL also to download the things. Or you can, if you want to use the web scraping tools also, that you can use, like Beautiful Soup and all, lot many tools are there. You can directly use that also. Yeah, I will share PPT also.
Okay, ma'am.
Is there overfitting happens in ML? Yes, of course, that is also happens in ML. So I would like to, I think there is no question. So I would like to thank Sushant sir and Yogesh sir for inviting me and giving opportunity to share my knowledge with my colleagues. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank Dr. Parikshit Mohalle for always there for me and for guiding me and providing me such a beautiful opportunities to discuss with the colleagues. So thanks a lot.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Such a nice session, ma'am. You have answered each and every questions of the participants. So hopefully participants will enjoy this session also. And thank you, ma'am, that you took the time out of your busy schedule and showered with your wisdom of knowledge. We are truly humbled by your presence, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you once again. In short, on behalf of Sandeep Foundations, Sandeep Institute of Engineering Management, Nashik, we would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt thanks to you for serving as a resource person for this short-term training program on data analytics with Python, sponsored by AICT. So we appreciate the time and effort that you have spent during this event. This session were live and engaging, ma'am, and it was enjoyed by one and all the participants. Again, thank you so much for your contribution, time and efforts to success of this STTP, and hope the same cooperation in the near future as well, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, your contribution.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, and take care, everyone. Thank you for
Yes,
listening
ma'am.
me. Thank you
You
for
also
your
take care,
patience.
ma'am.
Should I leave, sir, now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone here.
Participant, I'll just post the link of attendance here. Just wait for 1 minute.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, what about the test?
Yeah, sir. Test at the end of the session, sir. All the sessions, when we end the third session, then at that time we'll have one small test.
Okay, sir. 4:30 p.m.
Yes, yes. Not 4:30 p.m. It is of last session is of 1 hour only. That is 3 to 4.
Okay.
So after that, we'll take small valedictory and
There is a request. Please
post
post
the
the test link inside the our group also, because when we disconnect at that time, everything is disappear from the chat groups.
Yes, yes, sir. We'll take care of that. No issues. So here is the this session's attendance and feedback link. Please fill it.